Grant, take it away.
Okay. So, as I was talking with Tammy about this, one of the fundamental things that we talked about and that we have been going over the last couple of weeks is, it's like, what is it that you all as librarians have to offer to people who are in crisis? Um, and so we've kind of talked about that as especially for people that are coming in who maybe have lost their jobs and they're wanting and needing um, information on how to look for jobs and maybe even needing to change careers, which is just and both of those are just amazingly stressful situations. And so I guess that at least one of the most basic ways of understanding when people come in um, asking for that kind of information, that they're probably doing worse than they look. That they're in a public situation, and it may be that their life is just falling apart around them. But we all want to try to look better than we're actually doing. um, and so, they may look like, oh, I'm just here, I want to find out some information. So they may look like they're really looking for information, but what they're looking for is help. They're needing help. And certainly information is a huge, and it may even be the most important part of that help. But there are other parts of help that I think that they also really need. And that's where this is like stepping outside of maybe what it may seem like you were trained to do. So you were absolutely 100% trained to give information. That's probably kind of seems like, well, that's kind of my job. That's the main part of my job. And that's certainly that's true. So at one level, from just like, okay, here's my job is to give information. Yep, that's right. That's probably the main thing. But I guess we're going to take this just like one little step outside of the job to what is it that we as human beings need. And so the idea is when someone comes into the library looking for help, their mind is, and I think I said this last week, their mind is in chaos. And so what it is that they need is to be able to think clearly and see what possibilities life may offer them in the midst of this chaos. And so when people are in chaos, what they need, I would say, are three things. One of them, you are the world's experts in giving. The other two, maybe I am one of the world's experts in giving, because it's kind of what we think of as more therapy. So when people come to you in chaos, they're needing someone who is a grounded presence, who is a compassionate presence, and who is an informative presence that can give helpful information. The problem with that first one, being a grounded presence, is when someone comes to us and they're in chaos, because we're social animals, our brain kind of mirrors. If somebody is in chaos in front of me, there's something, maybe in a mild version, not as strong as theirs, but to some degree, there's something inside of me that says, oh my gosh, I don't know what this person needs. Can I do what they need? And so our brain kind of goes to chaos a little teeny bit. And so very often when our brain goes to kind of like this aroused kind of response, we kind of step back. It's like, oh, I'm just here to give information. I'm not here to be a nice person. I'm here to give information. So we go to this kind of collapsed way of being present. And so a way of working with that is to actually say, yeah, I do have information that I can give them, but let me see if I can kind of be with them even a little bit from a sense of I'm okay, but I care about them. That yes, I can give them information, but I can also give them a sense of compassion. And so so I guess one of the ways that I think about that is, if I were going to put that into words, it would be being a soft presence. It's not just, oh, sounds like what you need is A, B, C, and D. You go over there to get that. It's like assuming that they're doing worse than they look. And just in the way you're being present, you're working on kind of stepping inside, taking maybe a deep breath or two to get grounded inside, but then just telling yourself and realizing this person's probably doing worse than they look. Let me, in the tone of voice, even if I'm giving that third piece, I'm giving information, with my tone of voice, let me give it in a kind of a soft way. Let me give it like I'm giving information to someone that I care about. And so it's those three pieces, taking a deep breath and kind of finding a safe, grounded place inside. Very, very quickly reminding yourself, this person is probably doing worse than they look. So I want to be a compassionate, caring presence with them. And then I'm going to give the information from that grounded, compassionate space. So this is one of those things where you are already the world's experts on the last piece, giving information. That's basically what you get paid to do. The first two parts are kind of the more moving from here's the job to here's what it means for me to be more fully human with this person. So I'm gonna do my job, but I'm gonna do it in this kind of more human or more fully human way. So it's stepping back, taking a breath, reaching for this grounded place inside, and then just realizing that this is probably a truly and deeply suffering human being right in front of you. That they do need information, and honestly, they really do need that information. But they also need that information in the context of I'm okay and I care about you. So once again, this is actually doing our job, but it's doing our job in a really deeply human kind of way. So it's about information, but it's also really about care. And so given that this is my last time with you, I want to kind of just bring this together and just kind of put this in kind of a larger context. And I guess it's the context of what it is that we're really talking about here in you being a librarian is actually what we all need to be fully alive and to live our lives more fully. To say, yeah, that there are things that I can do and accomplish, that's cool, but that there are also ways that I can do that from a more centered place, in a more caring place. And, just to kind of bring this to a close in kind of a philosophical spiritual way. It's that I can do my job, but in a way that's more than just about my job. It's also about me being as alive a human being as I can be. And the cool thing is, our jobs can actually be a vehicle for that greater aliveness. And one of the main ways that, unfortunately, you all are going to have the opportunity to do that is in giving this information to people who come to you who are in crisis. So, very simply, someone comes looking for information, kind of a three-step process: taking a breath and grounding inside, going to them from a place of care, and then giving that information from that grounded, caring place. And if you can do that, then you are going to be an absolutely wonderful human being and a great librarian. Okay, so I don't know if there's any questions or responses to that.
That was beautiful, Grant. Thank you so much. And the floor is yours, everyone. Does anybody have any questions for Grant or any follow-up thoughts? As I was thinking about what you just said, Grant, and then also framing it within the context of the difficulty of, you know, changing careers and jobs and job loss and all of those pieces, the full constellation of this picture is really intense, for sure. And the empathy that we all feel for people who are in a position of being unemployed, and then the prospects of trying to learn new things, and you know what's required of us cognitively to be able to do that, as well as emotionally. And then just now when you mentioned, you know, us being able to provide information in a way that, if we bring our humanity to that, then the person is able to take it in. And that's the whole point of providing good information, and is they can see that there are options, and that there is hope, as you talked about in the previous 2 weeks. So yeah, it's definitely we're all, everybody on this call is working right now, so we're all very fortunate to have jobs.
Yes. And I guess it really is that fundamental idea that life is always about more than it appears to be.
Right. And what you also said about people, that when they come to the library and they come to us, or any of us, you know, that we're always probably doing a little worse than we're fronting, right? That
Exactly.
I am right now, I can tell you guys that.
If you think this looks bad, you should see how I feel.
So it's all such so really helpful reminders. I'm so excited that this series is, you know, that we are recording it and putting up the additional resources, because I'll probably watch this talk 10 times. Maybe I'll do that every day as my meditation. So yeah, any other thoughts or anything other where we're at right now? Other than that, we'll say, anybody thinking anything?
All right. Well, thank you all.
Joan, were you going to say
lives
something?
here?
I was just going to reflect. Oh, did I mute my?
No, you're good.
Okay, good. I just had an interaction yesterday, which was not in a library, where I was in the role of the patron. I was a customer, and the person behind the desk. So this is not in a library. I'm just carrying the analogy, but I want to stress that it wasn't in a library. But the person behind the desk actually was very, I feel I was pretty calm going into it, and they actually reacted, and I left feeling worse than when I went in. And so all of this is just, I mean, with all the of stress going on in all facets of everyone's lives right now, regardless of library interactions. You know, it's just good to keep in mind and hitting home with me, particularly after my interaction yesterday. So anyway, thanks for letting me share a little bit. I appreciate it.
You never know the impact that we're going to make on somebody for good or for ill. And I guess it's just like being intentional about trying to do it for good.
Yeah.
It didn't always come naturally.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all, and best of luck.
Oh, thank you so much, Grant. We really appreciate it, and thank you for all your time. And onward we go.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.